And a surprise delivery to an Inuit advocacy group in Ottawa is raising sharp questions this morning about whether the treatment of Indigenous artifacts and remains is ethical and respectful. Natasha Fattah is here with the details of that. Good morning.
Good morning, Heather. So a surprising package received by this Inuit group in Ottawa, and for many quite shocking. They received a box left for them in their lobby. This is the ITK based in Ottawa that had Indigenous artifacts, including Inuit carvings and a wall hanging. But it also had human remains in the form of a jawbone and several teeth still intact. Now, along with these surprising artifacts and the remains was a note which was essentially an apology for what was happening. Let's bring up the note now that was left by the person who delivered the box, saying, "In the 1950s, my father visited what was then Frobisher Bay. He found or perhaps was given these artifacts, but they are yours. Please accept them with my apologies for keeping them so long." If people don't know, Frobisher Bay is around the Iqaluit area. So imagine having at one stage been so far north in our country, brought all the way down south to this organization in Ottawa. And CBC News was able to speak with the president of this group, Natan Obaid, and he said it was so shocking to him because at the time that his organization received the package, he was actually in Yellowknife speaking with representatives from various provinces and territories about the very specific issue of repatriation of Indigenous artifacts and remains. And he said, well, at that exact moment, he gets a phone call saying that their office has had this very unusual delivery. And he says, while he understands the sentiment behind why the person returned these objects, maybe their heart was in the right place, that it opened up a lot of old wounds about how Indigenous people in this country have been treated. Let's have a listen to him.
As a country, did not respect Inuit and didn't respect Indigenous people's rights as human beings for a very long time. That led to people collecting Inuit human remains as part of a larger ethnographic or anthropological exercise. We're displayed in museums, we're displayed in private collections as somewhat different than human beings.
Obaid went on to say that even in death, Indigenous people were not afforded basic respect. He says, like anybody, if you lose a loved one, if they should be placed in a proper place, they shouldn't be put on display. And so while the person's sentiments might have been good, they haven't exactly gone about it the right way.
What's going to happen next on this, Natasha?
Well, we understand that the police have been informed because Obaid said that, in fact, if you found human remains anywhere, most people would likely call the police, and that's probably what this person should have done. But so they've contacted the police. There is going to be some form of an investigation, and his hope is that the origins of these remains are figured out, who this individual was can somehow be figured out, and that they can take these remains and get them back to where they were originally found. How long that process will take, if in fact it is successful, we still don't know.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Natasha Fattah.